Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Saturn and I am going to pull from some oracle decks. We're going to talk about manifestation techniques. But first, I want to talk about like the story of your life. Sorry for the loud shuffling. This deck is loud. Well, okay. I'm using the Story Oracle, which is actually meant for creative writing, but we're going to use it for divination today, okay? Because I want to know about the stories you're telling yourself about your life. And then we're going to go on to manifestation techniques, and then we'll go look at results. We have trust. Fell to the ground there. We have trust. This card looks like we're going through a process of learning how to trust other people, and also that like that trust is going to bring us to great heights and to do some incredible feats, right? Like it's going to be pretty spectacular once you learn how to trust, and that's like a process that you're on right now. That's a journey. That's the journey for you. And what else? What else is going on for you? Oh, okay. We got high drama and injustice. Okay, so I'm getting that like we've gone through a lot of drama. Obviously, sorry, I'm just hearing my roommate. It's a little distracting. We're getting over this thing that happened in the past where you felt like something that happened to you was really unfair, and it also was like very like I'm seeing like chickens, like a pecking order type thing. I'm seeing like a lot of bickering and like social drama, gossip, stuff that I think is probably like inconsequential in reality, but there was a lot of like drama was created from nothing. Like it didn't have to be that dramatic, and that's where the injustice feeling is from. It's like you were in this position where you're like, I trusted you guys, and now that is being used against me. And so you're in this time where you're like trying to rebuild your sense of trust with others, because it was definitely your trust was betrayed in the past, and that's no fun. But it kind of is also like, don't we love a little bit of drama? No. But don't we? But don't we? This big stack of cards fell out. I'm not gonna read it. It's too many cards. Just too many cards. I just want like one or two. I just like want one or two cards, not like 7. Okay. Here we go. Surprise villain. Okay. And that's interesting because it's like the shadow is showing the villain. So we're definitely in for some shadow work. Like you're looking at what part maybe did you play in the drama, right? And I think also like part of the work of this life, in life as a human with other humans, is accepting that like other people have a shadow that they are dealing with on their own terms, right? And that's something that we can't control. So what we can control is how we deal with our own shadow. Like control is a really strong word to be using there. I would say like something that we can manage is how we deal with our own shadow. And there's very much a like, how are we reacting to our lives? I'm also getting a bit of like a Cancer vibe here, because there's like little crab claws right there. This character here. So this could be something that you're dealing with like during this season. It could be that you were dealing with a Cancer, or you are a Cancer yourself. That what I just said applies to everybody, right? Because we're all in Cancer season right now. It's like, okay. Anyway, hopefully this is like just something that will wrap up by the end of the month, right? But there is I'll do this one too. Okay, that's enough. There is a request for you to look at your shadow and looking at like parsing through like what is it that I did, right? Like maybe I misplaced my trust. Maybe I let myself put on a mask and accepted this injustice or this like narrative that was somebody else's, right? Like with the drama, like you're putting on a play and it's someone else's story. And then you're really learning how to trust yourself. Like this could be yourself and your higher self. And then I like to say like it's a lot easier to trust other people when you trust yourself, because when you trust yourself, it's easier to have boundaries and it's easier to navigate when other people have or have not dealt with their shadow or like are dealing with it in their own way that is new or unclear to you, right? Like it's different. Everybody is different, and that can be difficult when we think a certain way and then we're learning that other people think other ways, and like we're trying to reconcile like what is my truth and how do I act from that, and also like how do I rectify in my brain, right? Like that this other person is living in their own reality. And sometimes getting that perspective is helpful, where it's like, okay, maybe I'm living too much in my own reality and like I need to like kind of look for perspective outside of myself and find out like what are the other angles of this narrative. But it's important for you to be able to trust your gut to actually parse through that information for it to be helpful. Otherwise it's just jumbles, right? We have the Stranger and a Storm. Can you see that? There we go. And the Storm is pretty reminiscent of the Tower there. And then it's definitely like it's something that's happening that's way outside of your control. You could be feeling like a victim of your own circumstances right now, and you could be feeling like you are a stranger to yourself right now because of how much you were let go. I'm hearing the word like victimized a lot, like with the injustice too, like and the surprise villain. Like there could be a sense of feeling like a victim, which is one of the ways that we give away our power, right? So it could be like this narrative that's like, oh my god, everything is outside of my control, everything is so wild right now, like I don't know where I'm gonna land, and I don't even know what opportunities are going to be coming to me. But there is a sense of trust that opportunities will come to you, whether or not they're like you don't really know what it will be, right? There's a huge sense of mystery there. It's kind of like, okay, I know something is going to happen to turn the tables that is like outside of my control, but I'm not exactly sure what that is. The Stranger here also has this like Black Widow motif on their shoes, and that's interesting to me because it could be like this watching where you step and like the venom of others. And I'm also thinking about how storms can like really strengthen the roots of trees and are like a really important part of our ecosystem sometimes, but it's like important to shake things up. And maybe that is where your immunity comes from, like this, from this fallout of all of this drama. And then you're like actually getting stronger because you're looking at your shadow and you're trying to relearn how to trust yourself and re-empower yourself. It could be very important right now in this process for you, okay? That is one thing that I've been learning a lot, is like actually every freaking part of the story is what gets me to where I want to be. And like maybe I wouldn't be able to do XYZ without ABC, right? Anyway, we also have something hidden. This is the one that was in my hand when the other two fell onto the desk. So again, we're dealing with the shadow. We're dealing with maybe a piece that we don't know, maybe a piece of the story that we hadn't heard before. I'm also getting this, like, we're learning how to not react so much when we don't have all of the information, even though we think we do, because we're like making assumptions, right? I think that is a huge part of the lesson here that we just went through, is like, you know that you don't have all of the information, and maybe you can go toward like asking questions instead of making assumptions. That's where I'm going. And then it's like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. So there are things at play that like you don't have knowledge over around like the grand scheme of things, right? Of it all. So there's definitely like a larger power at play, if that makes sense. And then I want to get toward like what kind of, I'm going to use the Elements of Source Oracle deck. This comes from one of the Meow Wolf exhibits. It was in the gift shop. My friend bought it for me. My friend bought it for me. That was nice. This is for what kind of freaky stuff are we getting into, right? What can we look at that's going to help speed up these manifestations that we're trying to do, other than like the narrative? I think that knowing this narrative is like helpful, but then it's kind of like, what else can we do to get what we want? How can we know what we want, you know? Because sometimes that's even hidden from us. Yeah. So I'm gonna shuffle this again, and I'm gonna pull from the middle. Shuffling. Pulling from the middle. Prosperity, desire, abundance. What is full today may empty tomorrow is interesting. So there's a lot of like gratitude. Could be useful for some of you. The thing that I wanted to talk about when I talked about manifesting is that different techniques work for different people. Like, you're not going to find that every technique works for you. For me, I'm very trial and error, and so it's about like figuring out what does work for you. So while gratitude lists, I guess I'm just saying take it with a grain of salt, right? But I find that gratitude lists can be really helpful, getting into the spirit and actually thinking about like what I am grateful for that I have today, because in reality, my life is incredibly rich, and that does help me combat the scarcity mindset and the victimization mindset, especially going out into nature, because there is an incredible amount of abundance in nature, right? But it does just help you kind of color your view of things when you're looking at all of the things that you have at your disposal. Going to the library is great. We love the library here. Okay, these 2 came out. These 3 came out. Okay, we have fracture in reverse, creation upright, becoming a conduit for growth, the hand that forces, and projection in reverse. I love the art in this. I'll do it upright so you can see it. Again, with the the power being the core of this, and it's in reverse. It says, what you have can break apart, and it's in reverse. So I'm definitely thinking that there's like this grab for control around like the thing, that fear of like, oh, what I have now could fall apart at any moment. But what it's really telling you is to like focus on what you have now and not the possibility that it could fall apart at any moment, right? And then we have creation, the hand that forces, becoming a conduit for growth, where it's like reminding us that our power, let me just offer this thought to you. You don't have to accept it as a belief, but our power comes from the source of all things, right? We have this like this ancestry, this matriarchal lineage happening here, that we alone are not the power, right? We are powerful because we learn to be that conduit and to use the tools that work for us. But that's what they are. It's like, it's the tools. It's what we're learning to do. It's not us as our ego, right? So when we're tapping into source energy, that is where the manifestation comes from. And also, from what I've learned in my working with manifestation techniques, the law of attraction, learning about high magic and everything, there is an element of letting go to pretty much every manifestation technique that I have read about. There is a balance of being specific and also leaving things open for your magic to work. Because if you're too specific, like that puts rigid walls around everything, and like we're not omniscient. We don't have all of the information, right? So it's important to like let it do its thing. We're just the conduit, right? It's almost like I'm thinking of when you're doing somatic work and getting into your body and you're listening to your body, right? You're not telling your body what to feel, especially in transmutation and meditation, right? Like the only way out is through type stuff, where it's like, okay, I'm allowing this feeling to move through my body so that it can like make room to manifest more feelings that I want, that also I allow to move through, right? It's that we are that conduit. It is just the flow of energy that is happening all the time. We actually can't just like hold on to things. We really, I think, want to hold on to things, but that is a huge message here, that we can't just keep everything, because everything changes. It's all changing. It's not static. And then we come to projection in reverse. There you go. Projection in reverse, and it's another creation card. Actually, we have all different ones. We have desire, power, core, and creation, which is interesting that the core card is a creation and then this one is creation. Anyway, projection in reverse, is more dealing with the shadow. Illusions are enticing but not true. How much weight are you putting into your fears? How much is your reactivity in control of your life, like what you're doing, how you're responding, and how much of that is connected to what you learned as a child, like what is ingrained in you and what came up for you, because I think you will be surprised once you start talking about it with other people or journaling about it. You will see the connections of your behavior currently and your behavior when you were younger than 10, right? So that's what I'm getting there. I'm also seeing this like we are more than the sum of our parts as well, and a lot of forgiveness, and not to dwell on it, because dwelling on it is not going to help with that. So those are like the mindsets and the work that we can do that may help speed along the process of whatever it is we are manifesting. I'm going to pull another card from here and then we will move on to the results. But I'm kind of getting the same story from each of these decks, so I'm curious to see what the Rider-Waite says. We have longing in reverse, equilibrium between want and need, and one of the things that we say is to let go of the lust for result when you are manifesting. Of course, when you're manifesting, it's something that you want, and so it's kind of like, how do you find that balance between working toward what you want and like obsessing on it, right? So there's that. I also am getting this because it's in reverse. It says subject is absence, so I'm looking at like what is missing from your life and what is it that you have been longing for, and to not ignore those parts of you, because that is the inkling showing you. It's like guiding you along the path of like, hey, this is what you want. This is like a part of you that is telling you what your true desires are. I hope that makes sense, because it was very succinct, but that's what we're gonna end with for that deck. And one more. My classic Smith-Waite deck. It's kind of small, no? Kind of small. We got strength on the bottom right off the bat. I have beef with her. We got the High Priestess on the cut of the deck. We got the High Priestess. Strength on the High Priestess are definitely like, keep on keeping on. You can make it through this time. You can lean on your helpers in the spiritual realm and in the physical realm. You can lean on your helpers. I'm shuffling. We're shuffling. Okay, she's shuffling. Guys, I never watch these videos. I listen to them, but okay. And then we have the World on the bottom here. So we are, and it was 4:44 on my clock because I had to reset it to close the door. But the World. So we're looking at stabilization. We're looking at the completion of a cycle. This like keeps coming up, but like, yeah, we're at the completion of a cycle. And we have the Knight of Wands, so it's very much like go after what you want, get that action in there. Do something is what I heard. Do something. So I think it is like there is movement happening for you. I think that things will speed up with the quickness. We have the Hierophant in reverse. The 2 bottom cards fell out of the deck. So we have the World, which was the basis of the matter, and then we have the Hierophant, which was right underneath it, and it's in reverse, and I'm kind of seeing like there is a huge shaking up of like what we know to be true, right? And changing up the traditions and trying new things, right? We also have the Emperor in reverse. Okay, so some of you are manifesting, I'm gonna say big stuff, okay? And I'm gonna say it is happening. Okay? That was in reverse, yes. Okay, yeah. 10 of Swords in reverse, okay? I think the trick is not to do such big workings that you become completely burnt out. I think some of us are working through burnout and learning how to continue doing this work while we are actively in burnout. And then I want to know, where's the healing? It's in the 2 of Pentacles reversed. Okay, this is like, oh, right, oh, things are out of balance, sure, but also it's kind of like maybe things balance out on their own and you don't need to be so hung up on doing things so balanced, right? You can, again, like cut yourself some slack, like I said in the last with the last deck. Like there's a lot of forgiveness here, okay? And that's where the healing is. There's like forgiveness in the imperfection. Like we can't always be juggling things. Sometimes you drop the ball, and that's totally okay. When you're learning to juggle, you learn to, like, you drop a ball, right? If you're juggling more than 2 balls or any amount, whatever, you're juggling, and then you drop a ball, you keep juggling. You don't stop to pick up the ball. It's like, okay, oh, I dropped that ball, I'm gonna keep doing the thing. That's how I learned how to juggle. So it's like mistakes happen. Sometimes you drop a ball. That's no reason to like completely give up and to stop what you're doing, right? So many reversals. Okay, Hermit in reverse. Some of you are needing alone time. Some of you are isolating. Some of you are taking advice from people maybe you don't need to be taking advice from. This is interesting as like results, right? But I'm definitely seeing it as there is a complete paradigm shift. It happens really quick, and not everyone is able to hold their end of the bargain, or we don't really get the results that we think we're going to get. And we learn that life keeps lifing, and we still have responsibilities that we need to do, and we don't know who to go to. So there are definitely going to be people who are leaning on people who are shining like a light in a direction that looks good, but might not necessarily be the path that you are meant to take. And then we have Judgment in reverse. There's a lot of disagreement around whatever it is. This took like a huge turn, like around, this went from personal to more social. I'm seeing like very big themes here, where it's like this is more than just your personal life. This is like bigger than just you, which we kind of did see in the story oracle, and we've seen that throughout this reading, right? Where it's like, okay, yes, like we are looking at like how are we manifesting, but then also we're looking at like the bigger picture here. And the bigger picture is that we are doing our little magics and our little manifestation techniques and like our little healing and growth in the world, right? We're doing it within the context of being in a society and being people in the world with other people. And people are peopling. People are peopling with this poll. It's not going to be easy for a lot of people to deal with the consequences of their own actions and the consequences of their beliefs. And I'm kind of getting this like, oh, actually what we're doing right now in our manifestation and like our learning how to manifest better for ourselves and our relearning how to learn new techniques, all of that is to prepare us for how to stay steadfast and also support people through the chaos that is pretty swiftly on its way, if not already happening, right? So there's that, which is fun. Yeah, okay. I'm done. I'm good. We don't need to do this anymore. We can stop. Yeah. So like figuring out your own part is really going to help you give perspective to other people, because there is going to be a lot of infighting. There is going to be a lot of misdirection and juggling and finger pointing and blame, right? And our job is just to like remain steadfast, stay grounded after that storm that we went through, right? Like learn how to grow deeper roots and get deeper nourishment while everything is kind of going to shit around us. So that's kind of bleak, but also hopefully invigorating, because we need that. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you are able to manifest all of the opportunities that you need in order to stay steadfast on your journey. And if you could give me a like and a follow and drop in the comments below if this was helpful to you, I would appreciate knowing that. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.